G'day, what organized video. Today we have a review on the Yak-3U. That's all I'll say to this aircraft. Now, obviously, when I first started, and obviously I got a sub request from on off, I thought this thing was a pile of shit. How wrong I was. Let's just say that. So the Yak-3U, as I've already mentioned, is what happens when a Yak-3 and a LA-7 get a bit funky and they take it to the back room. Yes, I really went there with that joke, and I know Hello Folks going to enjoy that one. So the Yak-3U is armed with two 20mm cannons, and the performance it gets from the M82 engine being slapped onto it is actually rather surprising. Now, the climb rate of 5,270 feet per minute is a bit generous. I would put it in a region of about 4,000 to 4,500. The reason why I say that is because when you get above around 13,000 feet, the M82 engine starts to cough and wheeze because, well, it's not really tuned for high altitude. It can get up there, but it's not the best for that. Russian aircraft tend to be best at lower to medium altitudes. So that's really where you want to try and keep this aircraft. But at the same time, just be mindful of this aircraft and like the fact that you've got limited armament. The performance is lackluster. Well, I say lackluster. It's pretty okay at high altitude, but you're not going to be catching much. Um, and the aircraft itself is pretty good at low altitudes. The low alt performance is incredible for what it is. So the Yak-3U, as I mentioned, is armed with two 20mm B-20S cannons. These are synchronized with a propeller. These are essentially Berezin 12.7 machine guns rechambered to fire 20mm Shavak ammunition. Great. That's all I'll say. Great, because for fucking Shavak. But it's actually not that bad, and I had a lot of success with fires on this aircraft. So let's go over the modifications, because there's not many of them. The only thing you really need to know is what mods to go for. The engine doesn't really overheat, so I don't recommend radiator. Your first mod should be belts. You want to get the armor target belt in this aircraft as soon as possible. Your next modification should then be compressor, and they said engine then. Compressor is vitally important, so do make sure to get compressor done next. After that, go for engine injection, then wings repair, and then clean up however you like. The whole point of this aircraft is to get it as much in terms of performance as possible. You gotta remember, this thing's at 5.7, which I think is a bit OTT, but for its climb, you can sort of understand that, as well as low out performance. I can sort of understand why they've done it, but then why is the LA7 set at 4.7 with its performance? Obviously, this is obviously the way you go with your modifications and belt choice is personal preference, but I found armored targets to be the best for setting fires, which you're going to see a lot of. This thing does set a lot of fires, so it's very handy when you fight the Japanese, is what I'll say. In terms of the engine, M82FN. If you've flown an LA5 or a Tu-2S, you're familiar with these engines. Solid engine, good port or horsepower output, good damage taking, because this engine can take quite a few hits, that's for definite. And just all round, it's a solid engine. It's not going to compete with the US engines very well. At low altitude, it may, but it's a good all-round sort of engine for this aircraft. Obviously, the 120 rounds are provided in the 750 rounds per minute fire rate cannons. Yeah, these guns go quick. Let's just say that. Your fuel tanks are across the wings, so if you get hit in the wing, you're probably dead already, because, well, this thing loves to catch on fire. And, well, the only real oil cooling system areas are just here near the wings and just in front of the cannons itself. So it's unlikely you're going to leak oil, but this is Gaijin with a AAA, so it may just happen. But yeah, I grossly misunderestimated this aircraft, and I'm sort of sad that I did, because the only real jets I thought I was able to keep with, such as the HE-162, the Arado 234, and the ME-262 A1U4. The A1U4 is going to be more hard to keep with. I have not shot down one of those in this aircraft. I've also fought a Kika in this aircraft, and as you can imagine, that is a significant emotional event, but there's not a lot you can do against Kika, unless the Kika's an absolute dumbass. One of my deaths was from a Kika, and we traded. So, Yeah. So let's go over the how I did in this actual aircraft, and I just need to find it because there's how many fucking Russian aircraft I've flown in this game. It's unbelievable. 1 death, 22 kills, 40 ground targets, 90% win rate. Please note that is mostly luck. You will have shit teams on occasion. I just got lucky. It seems whenever I took the Yak-3U out, it was surprisingly funny how good the teams were. I only lost one, and that was by the skin of our teeth. Which, as you can imagine, was the geeky game where I traded. But to be brutally honest, this aircraft is definitely worth your time. If you're a good fan of the Yak-3 and you're a good fan of the LA-7, this is a good Frankenstein to play. Zila, I'm looking at you. So give this thing a shot, dude, because you like the LA. Well, I say like the LA-7, more like you're practically married to that thing, but you get my point. So yeah, let's get into it and let's see what I got up to in the Yak-3U. This battle was fought with Shadow and also another sub named Troll Gaming. He's quite common in the comments section. He's special in the Discord server. He's already got a nickname too. We nicknamed him the Munchkin because Hairy Feet gave him that nickname. The reason why we call him that is because he's got a very special voice, is all I'll say. So, Munchkin is... I'm just going to call him Munchkin for the rest of this video, by the way. Munchkin's in his Yak-9P, and Forsaken Shadow is in his B-25. One of his favourite planes, and I can't say I blame him, I like the B-25. So obviously, Munchkin was like, I'm going to try and ram you, and I was like, really? You are aware I function better at this altitude, even though we've only just took off? And he was like, okay, I'm joking, and I'm like, good, because I would have blown your ass out of the sky. So I'm just going to jump us ahead to where the action starts. So this aircraft, as you can tell, climbs pretty well. I mean, obviously I've got an 8 times speed, so just cut the climb rate down a bit, because this ain't no jet. It goes well, but I personally would advise climbing to around 15 to 16,000 feet, staying around about that region. That seems to be where, if you put the nose down to level it out, it seems to perform rather okay. So as you can tell, I've throttled the engine back. This aircraft rips quite easily. The rip speed is about 440 to 450 miles an hour. Not the best, considering most aircraft at this BR can actually outdive you, which is quite a big concern. So just be aware of that. So obviously Munchkin's got himself in a pretty bad situation. He's diving in to help this LA-7, and he's got he's got an A7M, an A6M5, and a Ki-84. And here's the red line, by the way. I was pretty much pushing this aircraft as hard as I could go without ripping the wings off. And bear in mind, this Yak was pretty much almost Spade, and only had the miscellaneous stuff left to do, like the fuselage repair, airframe, new 20mm cannon, and stuff like that. And I just chucked on a 300% RP and SL booster, and got it done in one game after getting 4 kills. So that was quite easy. So obviously I missed the pass on the A7 to find a brief burst, but I'm only talking about 6 rounds there. And I just held off the trigger and kept going. So Munchkin's pulled up for the Ki-84 here, and obviously I'm going to try and give him a hand. The LA-7 is going to give him a hand as well, and obviously if I can take a shot, I'm going to take the shot. And well, I get my shot, so kill number 1. But obviously I'm telling Munchkin at this point, we need to run, because we've just... Well, the LA-7 behind us just took a pretty big hit. And let's just say it's not going to end too well for that LA-7. and neither is Munchkin. Munchkin's going to try and dive in to give the LA7 a hand. Unfortunately, Munchkin's going to dive into a complete hornet's nest of zeros, you can clearly tell. There's an A6M5 above him now, there's an A6M5 on his ass, and there's going to be more aircraft coming in to take him on. And the A7M's even coming in to have a crack at poor Munchkin. And obviously if I knew if I went in there, I would be dead. This aircraft is good, but it will not beat a zero in a turn. So Munchkin's yelling at me for help, and it's very funny to hear his voice in comms. Like, that's where he got the nickname Munchkin from. Shadow is what you could class as a Munchkin as well, because he's a bit young. Like, he's older than what? Well, he's older, I think, than Munchkin. At least I think so. But at least Shadow has a deeper voice, which is it's nice to play with people that have like wide variety of ages like that, and like voices and stuff. But it's just funny to hear Munchkin's voice just screaming as he's being engaged by like 3 enemy aircraft. Like at this point, he was like, "Help, help, help," and I was just laughing too hard. But obviously, I can't engage them because there's 4 of them and 1 of me. And as good as the Yak-3U is, I do not want to engage 5 aircraft on my own. The 12mm cannons, though, very effective against ground targets. The light tanks are easy pickings. So at this point, poor Munchkin has been shot down. He went in, he did it for the motherland, and he actually caused 2 A7Ms to crash, which was very freaking useful. Some people may say, oh, Munchkin didn't do a lot. He got an assist, that's all he got. I'm going to say 2 kills, because, well, he caused some mid-air collision. But that's just me. So in terms of low performance, you can see I was riding the web, and it's actually not that bad. I mean, obviously, because it's radial, it's going to obviously lose more. Well, it's not going to be as fast as an inline. But this ain't too bad, about 340 to 350. That ain't bad for a piston engine aircraft at about this BR. That's for definite. This aircraft's a good solid all-rounder. And I know I say that a lot, but you get the gist. So the A6M5 there goes for the ram, and obviously Shadow's trying to be considerate about that, and obviously we've got another zero coming in now. And we've obviously got to be careful, because, well, we're up against zeros, and I know to some people zeros are not that great, but the A6M5 is surprisingly effective for its BR. Although I haven't flown it in donkeys, so I can't say I know. So at this point, the zero I thought was going to make the grave error of going for Shadow, but he doesn't. Out of all the aircraft he could have gone for, he chose to go behind a gauntlet of Stalin, which is just asking for trouble. So I think I scored a couple of hits there, and I scored another hit there, but obviously Shabak me whack. I know it's not technically called a Shabak, but it is firing the same ammo as Shabak, so I'm calling it. So the P-51 there, I think that's, yeah, it's P-51K with rockets on. I don't know why you'd strap rockets to that thing. He comes in to give me a hand, and well, I'm sort of thankful for this guy, but at the same time, he's, as you can tell, he's having problems, to put it simply. He's just suffered a flat spin. But that gives me a chance to get guns on target and kill the A6M5 for my second kill. And, well, the Mustang, I'm not certain how he managed to flat spin it. But hey, we'll never know. So, yeah, I'm not certain if they actually suffered a mid-air collision. I can't say I know. All I saw the moment after the A6M5 broke off from him temporarily was the Mustang just slowly going out of control. So, yeah. So at this point, I decided, right, I'll land and then I'll take off with Shadow. Also, watch the flaps on this thing. It was quite surprising how and also I said hello to the Gauntlet of Stalin in chat, and he's just like, what? He's just like, hello. I just put in chat there, hello Gauntlet of Stalin, which obviously people don't know that nickname, so that's understandable. But just having a B6 parked in front of you is probably one of the best things you can have if you're going to get bolts, because that thing is incredibly good at taking out planes. Just ask my skyrocket. That's a joke, by the way, because, well, and I just realised I skipped that. I'm terribly sorry. But that was an A6M5 that I saw in the clouds. And, well, he's going to... I think his fire goes out. Yes, it does. And obviously JPS XX pulls up here. I don't know why he would do that. Because, well, you're now in a stall and you're burning. Don't think that was the right move. Because, well, now you're going to be dead. And there he goes. Obviously the A6M5, he may be damaged, but he's still combat viable. So he throws it around as hard as he can, but remember, I only have 240 rounds, and obviously there's another 0 coming in now. So I've got to be very careful of how to handle this situation. The fact is that I don't have a lot of room to maneuver, and obviously the 0 has the maneuverability and the current altitude advantage. What he also has, though, is complete shit situational awareness, as you can tell. I put a good shot into him there. I think I scored a crit. No, but the Shadow's going to try and take the A6M5, which you can't blame him. I mean, the fire's out, it's fair game. And I was just like, saying to Shadow, if you want it, mate, you can try and have it. I don't see why not. And Shadow does actually get the kill on him, and I get a assist out of it. But obviously now the A6M5 that's left, Dragon Ray, is looking to try and get an opportunity on us. But who needs that when we've got light tanks to kill? He thinks we're going to fly over his airfield, which is another example of a typical player trying to boost a AAA. But look at the tickets, it's not going to work for him. So at that point, me and Shadow fly to the tank convoy, and we win via tickets, because, well, we're not wasting our time chasing a runway camper. So yeah, the Yak-3U is definitely worth your time. The aircraft is incredibly good at what it does, whilst it does lack in armament, shall we say, what's the word I'm looking for here? There's a word I'm looking for, and I can't remember it. You know, your mind goes blank. I would say, well, I'd more like say combat time. The armament lacks combat time. It's the sort. I know there's a more technical word for it, but I just can't remember it. Yeah, this aircraft is not the best in terms of combat time, or shall I say, endurance is the word. Is another word I would use. But otherwise, this is a pretty solid all-rounder. I would give this aircraft a go if you're a fan of the LA7 and you're a fan of Yaks, because, well, it's a Frankenstein, so who doesn't like it? But anyway, I'll see you all on the next one.